Okay, so be honest. How many of you get paid and then maybe a week later, all of your money has finished? Or you get paid and then mid-month or a week before your next pay, you're wondering where all of your money has gone? Because that used to be me. I was somebody that would get paid and literally about a week before my next pay was due, I'd be having to borrow from my savings or borrow from even my emergency fund just to make sure I've got enough money to survive. A lot of us don't have a payday routine, but many of us need one. Now I'm going to go through the 5 things I do every payday to ensure that I never run out of money before my next salary. Number 1, you need to pay your bills and non-negotiables first. You should be sat down at your desk. You should be sat down somewhere comfortable with a list in front of you of all of your bills and non-negotiables. What I normally do is I get my budget planner. I would have already listed out all of the bills and the amounts that need to be paid. I get my highlighter and I literally sit and make those payments. I've made it so that my bills can be either prepaid manually or direct debit. Any of my direct debits that are set up for my bills are always set up a day or 2 after payday, never on the same day. That's just too much, having your big salary come in and then seeing chunks of it come out in the form of bills. I think for me anyways, that's just too much. Once I've done paying all of my bills, I then move to my non-negotiables. Now for me, my non-negotiables are my sinking funds, my long-term sinking funds. Now I'm going to do a whole separate video about sinking funds, saving challenges, cash stuffing, but just for now I'm just going to keep it as simple as my sinking funds are basically things that are going to more than likely come up in the future that I like to put money aside for. So things like car renewals or even just car maintenance, for example, that's a sinking fund I put towards regularly. After you have paid your bills and your non-negotiables, you're now going to want to transfer money into your savings. Whether that's a regular savings account, a high yield savings account, an ISA, a stocks and shares ISA, you need to make sure that you have money put aside in somewhere that's safe. There are some people that keep cash as savings, but you might as well try and get your money to work for you by putting it into an account where you can at least gain some interest. The other side of savings would be your emergency fund. Now, an emergency fund is basically where you put money aside to cover expenses in case you lose your job and you can no longer work. Step number 3 depends if you have a loan or debt that you're making payments to. So if you know that you've got a loan, a credit card, or any other debt that you make regular payments to, ideally what you want to do is you want to set aside some money for overpayments. Now for me, I currently am working on paying off a loan that I have, and I make a considerable overpayment each month. So what I make sure I do is I make sure I withdraw that money from the salary and put it aside ready to make a manual debt payment, a manual overpayment to that debt. If you don't have any debts or any credit cards, well done. You don't need to do this step. You can skip to step number 4, which is allocate money to spending every month. Now, this is where budgeting comes in. Ideally, what you would like to do is think about how much money you spend on average per month. And by spending, I mean things like going out to eat, shopping, if you like to take vacations on a monthly basis, staycations, if you have something you like to indulge in on a monthly basis. It could even be just your coffee that you buy every morning, for example. Calculate how much money on average you spend in total on things for yourself, right? And then what you're going to want to do is, first of all, be realistic. If you have that money to spare every month, then I want you to take it out and put it to the side, either in a separate account, or if you're a cash budgeter like I kind of am, then you might want to take that out in the form of cash. But separate your spending money from your bill money and your salary money. What I do is, with the bank account that I have 4 accounts within one. So I have the account where my salary comes, I have the spending account, which is where I put my allocated spending money every month, I have my savings account, and what's the 4th account? And I have a 4th account. And the reason I do that is because for me, I found that it was way too much to have just one account, the account where I get my salary and then I pay my bills from that and then I spend from that. It was difficult for me to keep track of what money's coming in, what money's going out. And yeah, I just found it much easier to just have separate accounts. If you're not able to, then that's completely okay. If you can only have one account, then that's fine, but definitely consider having separate accounts. It definitely makes a massive difference being able to really track and see what money's coming in and what money's going out. Final step in your payday routine would be to review the previous month. You need to get into the habit of looking at your bank statements, looking at your budgets, looking at your plans, and working out what worked well and what maybe needs to be improved. A lot of us don't actually look at our bank statements, and I promise you, if you take the time to look through your bank statement, look at your spending habits, you'll be surprised at how much unnecessary spending, or even how many subscriptions you've got that you're not even aware of, or how many things you buy or spend or indulge on that you actually don't need. Take the time to review what worked well and what you'd like to improve on, and at least then you'll be prepared for your next pay. So these 5 steps are a part of my payday routine, but maybe you do something a bit different. Maybe you have an additional step, or maybe there's something that you do religiously that works for you. Comment down below and let me know what that is, because I'm very keen to see how everyone handles their payday and their salaries. In my next video, I think I'm going to go into more detail about cash stuffing and sinking funds, so definitely stick around for that video. Thanks guys for watching.